Let me dig bones in Montana, where the dinosaurs used to roam. A couple of 100 million years ago or so, I'm told. The work, it is gritty, and you can get a little bit giddy, scraping in the hot sun, wishing for a bone.
This is Quarry 3. It was found by the owner and some of my interns. There was just a few fragmented bones sticking out of the hill, and they did test holes and started finding the remains of a large rib, and then we ran into the beginning of a large dorsal vertebrae of a very large sauropod.
And this is year
3
on the site.
This is year 3 on the site.
And what's significant about this year?
Well, how much of the skeleton is appearing? We have most of the torso, the backbone of the torso. We have rib cage. We have some tail vertebrae. Some other pelvic elements, and then we found a beautifully preserved tooth that I've never seen, and no one else has ever seen the shape of this tooth before, which is very exciting. It's a fully rooted tooth, so we hope that there's more of the skull here in the quarry, but as of today, we haven't found any. We've also found the remains of a second individual in the quarry, 3 tail vertebrae called caudal vertebrae of a massive animal. Some of the vertebrae are this big around, and that's exciting. Who knows what else is in the hillside?
Can you have too many bones in a site?
Well, sometimes it gets a little difficult maneuvering around them. We've had a phenomenal week this week because of the amount and the quality of the bone that's appearing. And we've also got a very experienced, almost a reunion team. That's helped too, having people that can excavate quite fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of returnees, and then you have a lot of volunteers too, don't you?
Yes, tons of volunteers. That's what makes the whole dig work, is many hands make the load light, and they sure make my job very much easier, much easier.
Uh-huh. Tell me about your intern program.
You know, I started that about 1998. And what I've done is there are a lot of students out there that are going into earth sciences, geology, paleontology, evolutionary biology, and even zoology. And these students, they're very informed with their book learning, but what we offer here is an internship into the real world of field paleontology, where the rubber meets the road. And so my interns that have come and experienced this over the last 20 years have, it's given them a leg up in their area of studies. Some of them have done papers, thesis on projects based off of the fossils we've worked here. So it's a wonderful classroom, and I'm glad to have these young people here. I guarantee you, once they've done a 5-week internship, a summer program, and some of them come back for a second, they're pretty fit for field work.
Mm-hmm. Is it highly competitive to get in?
Yeah, surprisingly, you know, after many years, the word's gotten out. We just have a little blurb on the website about it. This year, I had 33 applicants, so it's it's competitive, and I can't take them all because some of them don't realize that, you know, I'm not interested in giving a kid a leg up if he's going into accounting. I want it to count towards science.
Mm-hmm. So how long do you think you'll be working this site? The way it's going here.
You know, you go until the bone stops. And every year, this is a highlight of my year, is working out on this beautiful ranch. There's going to be dinosaurs that other scientists are going to, when I'm gone, hopefully they'll continue to work out here.
And a good relationship with the owner.
Excellent. You know, I'm proud to say I feel like I have ownership in the ranch. The family has treated me like I'm part of their family, and I'm proud to be working out here. Proud.
And they understand the science, right?
Absolutely, and they're dedicated to that. You know, even though this is a commercial enterprise here, the family is foursquare dedicated to these fossils, all of them ending up in a public museum.
In Montana or
No,
anywhere?
Anywhere,
Oh,
as
sure.
long as they're available for scientists to study it for the future.
Uh-huh.
These will never end up in a private collection. And that's not only me saying it, I have the full support of the family. And that's wonderful. It's rare.
Uh-huh, yeah. And when the bones leave here, what happens?
Well, then that's when the real work begins. I'd say that this represents 20% of the work. Finding them and excavating them. And then the lab, this quarry could give us 25 years of work. There's so much large material, and it's difficult stuff to prepare because sauropod bones, especially their vertebrae, are very ornate. They have webbing and they're built for economy with hollow sections in them. And they'll fall apart on you in a New York minute. Mm-hmm. So preparing these, and we're going to take out a section of the back of the smaller sauropod in about a 2,000-pound jacket so that we can properly prepare those vertebrae instead of taking them out because they're jammed together and we'd have to break them. And I'm just not willing to do that. It's a lot more work taking the big jacket out, but man, getting it into a controlled environment so you can properly do an #1 job, that's the way to do it.
How do they get sold?
Well, you know, it's interesting that the commercial paleontology world, or dinosaur paleontology world, is incestuously small group. And you know, taking it to large shows like the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show and showing museums that come through to purchase fossils for their collection, the quality of the fossils, that's the way to start the wheels rolling. Then when scientists who view that, they're talking to fellow colleagues and they go, I saw a collection of, for instance, some of our stegosaurs. Then that just gets rolling. So at this year's Tucson show, we had 12 museums view the dinosaurs from this ranch.
Now, are they buying the actual specimens or castings?
No, they're buying the actual specimens. They get all of the scientific data recorded during the excavation, which is very important. So they have a scientific ready to publish on for other scientists to research it. It's complete.
So is it up to the person that buys them, or the group that buys them, to make castings if they just so desire?
Yes. Yes.
And we have an idea how these bones are deposited
Deposited.
in this, how they became to be in this location.
What we think was going on here is that this animal died on the floodplain next to the river, and it decomposed, and the skeleton was laying there. And then the bank of the river had a shoulder on it, so the dinosaur on the floodplain was down in a lower part.
Right.
And then when the river swelled, it overflowed its bank and just transported a bunch of mud and other parts and pieces that kind of like a big thick milkshake.
Right.
And it flooded in on top of the bones and just scrambled.
And Big Monty is the smaller of the two?
It's looking that way by quite a bit.
And previously you were thinking he was the biggest in Montana so far?
Yeah. So,
Now he's number 2 already.
yeah, we got number 2. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
And tell me about that tooth. Do you have any ideas what kind of tooth it is?
It belongs to a class of dinosaurs called macronarians. That means large nose. The dinosaurs in North America that belong to that family are Camarasaurus, Brachiosaurus. Now, Monty's vertebrae are very similar to a known macronarian dinosaur called Haplocanthosaurus, although he's twice as big as any known Haplocanthosaurus. And as we prepare more and more of the vertebrae, which are very diagnostic, we might find that it's a new species. But the fact is the Haplocanthosaurus that we know, there are 3 known partial specimens, and all of them are headless. So we don't have even any teeth. And this tooth that we found here this week is reminiscent, not to Camarasaurus, but to Brachiosaurus. So many scientists believe that Haplocanthosaurus is in that family lineage right next to Camarasaurus and Brachiosaurus. So that tooth might be the first Haplocanthosaurus tooth ever found.
Wow. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, the tooth is very sharp and pointed. Pretty amazing. Beautiful condition too.
Yeah. And found by just a digger who came to the dig, right?
Right. Yeah.
So they got a rush out of that.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. And that's the thing about having these people here. You know, some academics might shudder at the thought of having rank amateurs working in a quarry with a scientific specimen. But you know what? I'm here to tell you, after 25 years of doing these and excavating a lot of dinosaurs expertly, these people, once you spend a little time with them and you put them next to an experienced digger, the learning curve is pretty good. And if they have problems, then we move them out of sensitive areas and they can help in other ways. But the priority is to save the bone, number
Right.
1.
Well, I notice a lot of your returners are end up being helpers, or end up instructing,
Right.
basically.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. We have people here that have been coming for over 10 years, you know, that really, they themselves have become great field excavators. And some of them have even come to fossil preparation classes to learn the other half of the equation, because you got to understand what you do out here in the field affects what happens in the lab.
Give me a home in old Montana, where I can wear a big bandana around my neck when the weather's getting cold. Let me climb the ridge up yonder, sit there in the shade and ponder. Let me search the hills for them there bones.